Welcome, horror fans. As the leaves fall and the shadows grow longer, it's time to dive into the spine-chilling depths of the Halloween trilogy. From eerie cinematography to unforgettable kills, we're unmasking every terrifying moment from Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Hey there, movie buffs and TV junkies. Welcome to the Drive and Chat podcast, the show where we roll out the red carpet for all things film and television. I'm Gabe Whiteman, and today we're taking a deep dive into the Halloween trilogy. Get ready for suspense, scares, and some juicy insights. Plus, later on, I'll be listing my top 5 kills in the franchise and making a tier list of the top Halloween candies and more, so stick around. Now, let's carve into our first movie. Starting off with Halloween 2018, the cinematography was nothing short of brilliant. The opening scene sets the tone perfectly, and the intro title with the pumpkin is nostalgic magic. Plus, I really love the match cuts, like that exploding pumpkin cutting to the locker being shut. That is such clever editing. I think the cinematography is probably one of the best parts of this movie. I think everything from just showing Michael Myers to the pumpkin and, again, the editing, it was actually all, very good. I think maybe one of my top moments was when Michael Myers was going to kill somebody in this house, but he went up to the window first, and you could, see his reflection, but not his whole reflection, just his head. I thought that was actually, really clever, and I really, really liked that. I thought that was, just very interesting, and there's, I don't know. I feel like I could go on and on about cinematography, but we have, basically 3 movies to cover, so that's not going to happen. Now, the storyline. The storyline focuses on Laurie Strode, which played masterfully as a PTSD warrior. It's fascinating how everyone has pushed Michael Myers into this distant memory category, except for Laurie. But other than that, the callbacks to the original film, like the quote of Laurie saying to the new doctor, "So you're in the new Loomis?" line is icing on the cake. I think that the whole Laurie Strode involvement or storyline was actually really good. And for those who don't know, so basically what they did with this new trilogy, is they basically said, you know what, how about we just totally disregard and forget literally any other Halloween movie except for the original one? Which is probably a good move on their end because, let's be real, there's been so many of them. I think, Halloween Ends marks number 14 in the franchise, which is unbelievable. And there's been so many directors and, so many, times to the point where, it just seems like they're all cash grabs, except for the first one. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, this trilogy was also a cash grab, but at least they did it right. I mean, there are some movies in the trilogy that did it right, but other than that, they just said basically let's forget every other movie in the franchise and just stick with number 1. So that's what they did. And so basically it went from the first Halloween movie to when Michael Myers was caught to 40 years later or something like that. And basically Laurie is preparing for Michael to come back. So I think how they carefully had Laurie be the main protagonist was really good. I also do think that her being this badass I will fight you type character was actually really good. I think they did honestly all of this really well. There is I don't know. I honestly actually, you know what, now as I'm thinking about it, I don't even think that I had a problem with Laurie. I think she was actually a really well done character, especially with her character in Halloween Kills. I think it was good. When it comes to jump scares, though, that bus crash and Michael's brutal killings left me gasping. Who can forget the morbid creativity of Oscar's mouth being stabbed through the fence, or the cop's head being used as a jack-o'-lantern? Those two were probably the best jump scares and best like deaths ever. Like, I mean, when it comes to like the whole gore, it felt like a true Halloween movie. I mean, that could be just me, but it felt like a true Halloween movie. Like, I think they did it very well, and I don't think they could have actually done it any better. Cause like, I don't know, the all like the killings were very good. They were very creative, and then there was the let's see what else. There was also the teen crashes and or the teen not crashes, but like the teen deaths and everything. That was good. And honestly, like everything was actually really put well together. I don't think I actually had a problem at all. Like, yeah, I will say there could have been more killings, but I think it makes up for it in Halloween Kills, which we'll review next. But for what they did, it was really good. And I have to talk about those two famous scenes. Oscar's mouth being fucking just like kebabbed through the fence. That was insane. And I think the most insane one out of all of them is the moment where the cops pull up, quote unquote, but then the Allison's dad opens the door and it's like the cop's head with a flashlight going through it, and it's like a jack-o'-lantern. That's really creepy, morbid, but that's like all part of the Halloween franchise. So I think I really liked it. But on the downside, the subplot between Cameron and Allison felt unnecessary. Like it felt like they just were dragging down the tension. And the movie was constantly surrounded by cheesy dialogue, such as the line that was, it seems like Laurie kept saying over and over again, "He's waiting for me. I've waited for him." Like, that was so cheesy. That was like dramatic, but so cheesy. Like, ugh. Like it just made me like eye roll, the biggest eye roll ever. And we can't forget about that ending. The ending ditched everyone except for Michael and Laurie. That was like probably the biggest problem I had with this movie was the ending. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked the whole like standoff between Michael and Laurie. Like they got their meaningful fight and it showed Laurie's fighting skills since she's been preparing for this whole time. But the part that I just really hated was that basically during the same time, Allison was trapped in the cop car. Then, due to the doctor gets his head smashed in from Michael, and then somehow Allison escapes, which is like, okay, that's good. But then the thing that really bothers me is that Allison just runs through the forest, but like we don't see her for like until 20 minutes later. It's like, what? Like, was she seriously running through the forest this whole time? And then she finally pops up and it's like, oh, hey, where is everybody? And then goes down into the basement and just is like being scared, I guess. And same with Karen, though. The mom, she took a shotgun to Michael, but still, all she did was literally just kind of freak out. And I don't know, it's almost like the writers were basically like, you know what, let's have Laurie and Michael stand off. And then they just ditched this other characters. It's like, really? Like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, you need to have everybody together, you know? Don't just sideline characters. But other than that, it was a very solid entry. Honestly, I would probably give it a score of like 8.5 out of 10. I think it was really good. I wouldn't give it a 9 out of 10. I think that's going a little bit far, but 8.5 out of 10 is, I think, good. I would definitely rewatch this one, and it was definitely a solid film in the first Halloween trilogy. Next up is Halloween Kills. First, the story was definitely something. Yet, the flashback to 1978 is a brilliant way to connect the dots. I think they did a good job with the aesthetic by having like that film grain and that 80s costumes in the flashback with Michael getting caught in 1978. I think that was actually like really well done. I think what they were trying to capture and what they were trying to do, I think they did really good on. Like I feel like when they did that, they honestly captured the 1978 like look to it. Like I think they did it really well. Additionally, it went unnoticed that it connects so much to the original film, with characters being directly connected to the attacks in Halloween, the 1978 original attacks. Like Lonnie ends up being the dad to Cameron. that was a mind boggle. But other than that, I think Halloween Kills was actually, it opened well. It opened well. The theme of the movie was interesting though. The way the theme was of paranoia and chaos breaks out was well done. It was even better when it transforms into like power and pure vengeance. Like I will say, like, and I'll get into the problems of this film, and boy was there a lot. But the one thing I kind of actually commemorate for is the theme. I think the theme of the whole like vengeance is good. Like, of course, the theme of vengeance has been done millions of times, but they did it well in this film. And the fact that they kind of did it into like wanting to kill Michael because of how much terror he's put on the town and everything was actually good. Especially when it kind of formed into like a mob basically in later of the film. I thought that was actually kind of interesting. And then of course once you start a mob you can't really stop it, and it has that idea going. And honestly I thought it was good. I thought honestly the whole theme was actually really good. Especially it does, I kind of got that notion that it kind of turns into like power and pure vengeance. But other than that, I thought it was honestly really, really, really good. Yeah, I think the theme, I think they could have maybe done better with the theme, but other than that, I think it was good. The movie had different theme music though. It was the same popular like Carpenter like theme music, but with like more choir and like a synth to it, like giving it more like a darker appeal. So like you could kind of like when the movie opened, like you can kind of tell that stuff was like going to go down basically in this film, and stuff was actually going to happen. But honestly, like at first I was like, this is different. And then after like listening to it in a while, and of course watching the credits and like the pumpkin basically like decompose and everything, it kind of actually grew on you. Like I actually like quite liked it. Like it was still the same, but they put like a different spin on it, and that different like spin like carried across like the whole trilogy. So honestly, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought the music was good, and I will say, yeah, the music across everything else is actually really good too. So I can't really complain. Now on to the best part of all Halloween films: the gore slash killing. The gore is ramped up by definitely becoming more bloody and gory than the last one. It's good since it embraces like the slasher part of the film, especially with like the scene where Michael gets out of the house. That was a really good scene. That was an intense scene too. Like Michael went like literally just like ape shit on everybody, and it has like some of probably the bloodiest and like goriest kills ever. Like the best part of the film was the incredibly brutal deaths. Like there's a character named Big John, which that was both funny but also very, very gory. Because then they try to investigate like who's in their house, quote unquote, and then it of course ends up being Michael, like always. And yeah, he literally like puts his thumbs in his eye sockets and literally like digs and like scrapes out his eyes. Like it's brutal, dude. It is very brutal. I think that was probably like my favorite part of the entire film was the gore. I thought the gore was like very good. It was very bloody, which like I have a strong stomach, so I don't really like get like sick or anything from seeing those scenes or anything, but I really liked it. Like the firefighter scene was good. The car scene where Michael attacks everybody in the car with characters like Vanessa, Marcus, and Marion. That was a good interaction. And honestly, if you actually noticed, he actually plays with his victims more, like in a morbid way. Like there's one scene where he kills a bunch of people, but then when their friends try to find them, they find them on a merry-go-round, but like spinning with like costumes on and everything. Like it was actually like it was very morbid, but in a good Halloween way. So the deaths and like the killing was like the best part of this entire movie. But the film stumbles a lot. Like you notice how I say like the story was like definitely something, but with like a big break. That's why I said it that way. It's because this film stumbles a lot. Like, and I mean a lot. It seemed like every character was repeating the same thing like every 10 seconds, which is like the basically like everybody says it differently, but it's been saying like the same thing like every 10 seconds. It's like Michael's been haunting this town for 40 years. tonight he ends, like, or goes down or something like that. Like, it's been like that literally the entire movie, and it's like, dude, we get it. Like, I get Michael terrorizes this town since 1978, but bro, like, you don't need to say it every 20 seconds. Like, dude, we get it. It was not needed at all. It was, and it loses its plot effect so quickly. Like, like the whole like effect of like, oh hey, like we're going to basically show this movie in a way where everybody's sick of Michael now. Like he needs to go, and which is like a good idea. Don't get me wrong, but do it better. Like seriously, like literally they say the same thing over and over again, and it's like, dude, you're just becoming. This is like becoming like a theatrical play than a movie. It sucks hard. And then there's so many illogical decisions, like characters making downright stupid choices. Like, I know there's like some horror movies that are, or like some slasher movies where there's that innocent girl that's like, oh my gosh, what's that spooky noise? Maybe I guess I have to go into the scary chainsaw room. Oh my gosh, I can't. There's no way that anybody would harm me in here. And then of course somebody harms you. It's like there's that type of slasher which I get and I totally am for because it's like that's what it's supposed to be. But then there's this type of slasher where Michael is like killing people, but they're all making stupid decisions. One of like the most stupidest decisions was there's a character named Marion, and I forgot how she's connected to the film, but she is. And she is in the car with two other people that are trying to find Michael. And what happens is Michael jumps onto the car, whatever, and then he's basically going after everybody, which is like, again, okay, that's fine. But then what makes it just top notch is Marion has a gun, which they're trying to go after Michael, they're trying to kill him, whatever. But she has a gun. She thinks Michael is outside, so then she shoots through the glass, which you're just wasting bullets, but whatever. But what's funny is she shoots the glass and the glass breaks, but then she locks the door. Like what? So then it's a plot piece to have the other two characters not be able to escape. It was like stuff like that. It's like, really? Are you serious? Like, why would you? And then of course that's how everybody got killed. It's like, bruh, that's so stupid. That was so stupid. Like I hated it. It was like I saw that moment, and don't get me wrong, it was cool kills, but then I looked at it, I'm like, dude, like, please. I didn't get it at all. But it was stuff like that that just really bothered me. Then there was like the moment with Karen, the mom of the movie, like she basically, like, the movie ended and then she went upstairs. Michael was somehow there and that's how she died. Like there was no need, and she went up there just to look out the window. Like really? That was so like I feel like that was the only reason why she went upstairs, is so the writers can kill her character off. Like there was no point into her dying. They could have done it such a better way. And then there was like Little John, where, like, you know how I mentioned that there's a character named Big John? Well, he is the boyfriend to a guy named Little John, which right off the bat I was kind of, I guess you could say, frowning on, just because their names are Big John and Little John, which is like funny, but at the same time it shouldn't be funny. It's a slasher film. It's a suspenseful film, not a comedy. But whatever. I kind of rolled past the moment. But then what really got me, that just like eye rolled to the back of my head, was Big John gets his eyes squeezed out, and then Little John goes to see that he's dead, but then sees Michael, and he's like, Michael, I've been expecting you, or like, I was waiting for you to come here, or something like that, and just stands there while he like, and just stands there, like he doesn't defend himself or anything. It's like, really? Like, this movie had so many characters that were just like playing stupid, even though they weren't. They were playing stupid, and it sucks. Like, I do praise it for having some of the goriest and bloodiest deaths ever, but the story, like, just really kills this movie. So it kind of leads to like a very disappointing score of a 5.5 out of 10. Like, I feel like they could have done it a lot better. Finally, we have Halloween Ends. It starts with good, unsettling cinematography, which does capture that Halloween essence. Like, literally, one of the first scenes, or if not the first scene, was literally Corey, which is our main antagonist, basically. And he goes up, and the camera like zooms up like all the way on the woman's face that he's babysitting for, which is like actually really cool. But at the same time, um, they honestly did it at like a good time and a good way, because like it does capture like that unsettling look, because it's literally just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're here, and it's like then just like a couple seconds of silence while she just stares at you, it's it's actually like really cool. But then I will say after that they didn't really have too many more unsettling moments, but it was still good enough to the point where I'm like, okay, the cinematography was good. There was a couple of moments, like there was a moment where Corey was coming out of the sewer. I won't like dive into too many spoilers, but there was like a moment where Corey was in the sewers and he was crawling out, and he was basically just like, I don't know. He came across a very startling moment, and so then because of that, what they ended up happening was the camera ended up like twisting while he was exiting the sewer, as in like a confusing way, to capture that confusing feeling. So they did have a good cinematography, but I'll get into some more more stuff. It then begins to introduce intriguing themes of like confronting the past, but quickly shifts to focus on Corey, which is a new character, which detracts from Michael's presence. Like, honestly, I like the whole theme of like, oh hey, like Laurie is moving on, Allison is trying to move on, like everybody's moving on of this experience, except for everybody else. Like everybody else is still affected. Like there's a woman named Sandra that actually we'll get into later, but there's a woman named Sandra, and she was a victim from Halloween Kills, because basically her and I'm assuming her husband, they died. She got stabbed in the neck with a light bar, and everybody thought she was dead. Like, and plus, like, dude, like, how do you survive that? But apparently she did, and she can't talk because she got stabbed in the neck and everything. And yeah, and that's what happens. Like, Laurie, there's a moment where Laurie is like walking out of the grocery store, like smiling and everything, because there was a romantic thing happening in the store. And then, yeah, then the daughter of Sandra, the person that got stabbed in the neck with a light bar, it basically confronts her and be like, "Oh, hey, why are you all happy? Like, she can't speak anymore. Like, look what have you done, and you're still here." Blah blah. Blah. And like I like that whole theme of it. However, they did that for like maybe 30 seconds, and then was like, you know what, forget this. We're just gonna focus on Corey now, which is like the new antagonist, which we'll get into. We'll get into next. Then there's the story. For what it was trying to do, I did appreciate the effort. There were some scenes that were particularly interesting, such as like Michael looking into Corey's eyes, and having like that montage of like basically Corey seeing into Michael's soul, and how like basically they like almost like he knows what evil is and wants to mimic that and stuff like that. And so I had that montage, and that was cool. And at first I thought it almost like was looking like Michael's soul was like transferring into Corey or something like that, but like after done watching and reading some stuff, I kind of like figured out it was actually more of like evil taking a new shape, quote unquote, since Michael's called the shape and not Michael. So I honestly I liked it. However, a subtle part of the story that was appreciated was how Laurie Strode ended her book with the word shape. Since Michael is called the shape, like the entire story circled around a character named Corey, which was interesting since he was a new character, and he does end up being like the villain of the movie, but at the same time and I'll probably say this again later, but that's like movie 101. Don't introduce a new character at the end of a trilogy. That's a no. That's a terrible thing to do. Seriously, that's a terrible thing to do, because like, why would you introduce a character? That would be like if they introduce Luke Skywalker at the end of the Star Wars trilogy, which is I think a Return of the Jedi. You see, you see where I'm getting at. Like, why would you do that? Like, there's so much more story for him, which I get, but why would you do that? Like, because then it just feels like it was just like a one and done, you know? So I don't know. I feel like they could have probably done better with that. The story was good, and I kind of liked how Corey takes on as being like the shape, but it felt like took too long to introduce him, and instead shows like tons of relationships forming. Like it showed Allison and Doug, which is like a creeper guy that she's not interested. Then it shows her digging into Corey, and that happens, and then it shows Lori and like the cop from the last movie. It's like there's like tons of like romance, and it felt more of like a romance movie than anything. And plus, like by the time it's done with introducing like characters and theme, like the movie's already half over. Like, it just felt like you're watching like a rom com after that. It was, I don't know. Additionally, like Corey only goes on like a killing spree for like 5 minutes, and then literally just dies like a couple scenes later. Like really, like it's cool that he has like he's thinks that he has like that power and he can do it himself now, and he does that. But then yeah, all he does is just do that, and then like he's like, oh yeah, bye bye, and then just dies. It's like really, I hated that. And then they tacked on like Michael versus like Lori at the end of it, which like to make it like feel like a conclusion, even though it seemed like Lori totally gave up on Michael throughout the entire movie. And like I appreciate what it was trying to do, and I could see myself watching again. But as far as it being like a Halloween movie in the franchise, this was probably like the least Halloween like slash Michael Myers movie ever in the trilogy. Like all of it was just bad, just straight up bad. So like it had like a good like premise to it and everything, but the way that it was supposed to be a Halloween movie sucked. Like sucked ass. So it earns a 6.5 out of 10. The pinnacle of this trilogy, for me, has to be the balance achieved in the first film, which was masterfully blending slasher horror with deep emotional storytelling. It's a reminder that sometimes, the best horrors lie in our past, which, I mean, it's kind of true. I kind of added that in because, like, it sounds cringy and cheesy and everything, but it was actually, kind of good when I thought about it. So you can say all you want about it. But honestly, the first film was actually, like, really good. They blended horror and drama really good. It was balanced really well. It felt like, honestly, if you said that this was like a direct sequel to Halloween, I wouldn't bat an eye. Like it is technically, but in a reboot form. But it was actually like really good. Now, since this is a special Halloween episode, it's only fair if we went into the top kills of the entire Halloween franchise. So, here's my top favorite kills, and just to let you know, there is 5 of them, so I won't ramble on too much. But here's my top favorite kills. So, first, and they're not ranked in any order, so if you're a Halloween person and you're like, and you get so offended, then, I mean, don't, because they're not ranked. So first let's get into the top kills. So one of my favorites is John Strode's death from Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, which came out in 1995. That if you ever see the kill, it's a creative kill and a very graphic kill. So basically, John Strode comes down into the cellar and it's like filled with water, okay? And he goes and I think he hears like a sound or something, and he discovers bloody clothes in the washer or dryer, whatever it was. And then of course you see bloody clothes, you freak out, and so then he freaks out. But Michael like basically like comes in from out of the darkness like violently and like just grabs him and stabs him, but and he holds him by the knife. So like he stabs him in the gut, and then he stabs him in the gut, but then he holds him up by the knife. And then instead of just like letting him go and killing him right then and there, no, he straight up walks over with him in his one hand, and just straight up electrocutes him. Like, and he's like sudsing up in the mouth and everything. Like he's just being electrocuted like crazy, which I'm assuming, since the knife is metal, Michael is being electrocuted. But whatever, I'm escaping that logic for a second. But as he's being electrocuted, like it just keeps going and going and going until his literal head explodes. he literally hit like his. I don't know if it's in his entire body because I haven't actually like seen it in a while, but his head like literally explodes. Like it's insane. It was such a crazy death. So that definitely makes it into my top kills. Let's see what else. Next one is Rambir Sartain's death from Halloween 2018. This one was actually like I wouldn't say it's like one of my like top ones, but it's a favorite because of what it did. So Ranbir Sartain, I hope I'm saying that right, is the doctor in the Halloween 2018 movie. So he's the doctor that's obsessed with Michael and then ends up being crazy himself. But what ends up happening is basically, so he drives a cop car or whatever the case may be, and then he goes out and apparently runs Michael over. But instead of like killing him or capturing him or whatever, he actually ends up putting Michael in the back and then taking the mask for himself. And then not only that, he actually goes and tries to like, I don't know, interact with Michael or something like that. Anyways, the point is that basically he ends up being on the ground and Michael gets out of the cop car, he attacks him, whatever, and then in the last second the doctor goes like, say something, and of course Michael doesn't say anything, and then yeah, he gets head stomped. Like his head like literally turns into like meat mush, like meat stroganoff. Like it's pretty brutal. Plus, it was the first head stomp of the new Halloween trilogy, so his death was, I will say, his death was pointless. I'm not gonna lie, it was pointless, but it was really cool. Another top one that I really loved was Annie Brackett's death. I thought that was from Halloween 2 in 2009. I thought that was actually a very, very, very violent one. The whole entire like scene was like very brutal. Like her blood was literally like everywhere. Like seriously, when I mean that, I mean that. Like blood. She was in the bathroom, and I'm not gonna go into graphic details or anything, but she was half naked, and her blood was going blood like covered the entire bathroom. And of course, when they discovered her, of course everybody was freaking out. But yeah, no, it was just so insane, dude, of how the whole entire thing turned out. And then yeah, it was just like, it was almost like she was just like basically killed the most brutal way possible. It was insane. Like from what I saw, I don't think I actually saw her being killed, but I saw the aftermath, and that was pretty insane. The next one I really thought was insane as well was Phil and Sandra's death from Halloween Kills 2021. So this is the death I was actually talking about earlier in my review. So, and it was so, I don't know, it was almost like well done because it was so violent and so like edgy. Because like basically what happens is Phil, which is the husband of Sandra, so I think it's like, I don't know, like for some reason Sandra's playing with a drone, which I don't know why they wrote that into the script, but whatever. But she's playing with a drone, and she's flying the drone everywhere, of course. She's older, so she's trying to get the hang of it. And then she accidentally flies the drone into the bathroom, a dark bathroom. And then where you could probably put two and two together and see where this is going. And so of course she like and of course she's like trying to fly it back, but it's not coming back to her, so it's like, oh, great. But then the drone is like literally hurled in their direction, and it's all like crumbled up and like smashed to pieces and everything. And then of course they get spooked, like who's in there. Phil goes in very suspensefully and sees like nobody there, and so it's like, okay, spooked out, maybe call 911, but we should be fine. And then literally goes into the whole slasher bit of it, where basically now Phil is like walking towards to go get the phone. Michael comes out of nowhere and like literally obliterates him. I mean, not obliterates him, but literally stabs him and like beats his head immensely. And then Sandra is like the last one remaining, and then she literally gets her her neck being stabbed with a light bar, like one of those like long like lights that looks like a like cylinder or whatever. Yeah, Michael grabs that, breaks it in half, and then yeah, literally just stabs her in the neck, all while Sandra is just standing there. I don't know. Like, it's a good kill. It's a very good, like, Halloween scene, but the stupid deaths. And then my last one that I really like is the Firefighter Massacre, also in Halloween Kills. I don't know. I know I have two of them, but they're really good kills. They are really good kills. So the way, like, I don't know, the way that Michael, like, just comes out of, like, the burning house with an axe, like, dude, he's like not playing around. Like, he is ready to kill somebody, and he just goes ham on all the firefighters. That's insane, dude. That is so insane. And it gets crazier because I don't know, because firefighters have all these tools to, rescue people and everything, but Michael uses them against them, and it's so insane. The one thing, though, that I kind of him and Han on is when Michael's walking up to one of them, a firefighter sprays Michael with a firefighter hose. I don't know if any of you have actually seen those in real life. Those hoses have tons and tons of pressure. Like, they actually did a test where they don't actually use them, like, to water down people or whatever if they're, like, on fire possibly, because the water pressure is so high and so intense that it could literally, like, have a hole in you. I'm being dead serious. So Michael was walking towards them. They used the hose and on him, but did not stop him. Like, it was not even, like, resisting him or anything. Like, no, like, unfazed. And so I really I thought that scene was kind of illogical. Broke physics a little bit, but other than that, dude, it was probably one of the bloodiest and goriest deaths and scenes ever. But I will say, before we actually wrap this part of the episode up, I have to give out some notable mentions of, like, some of my favorite deaths. So a lot of these are actually from Halloween Kills, so they have a lot of good deaths. So first, I have to mention Marcus and Vanessa's death from Halloween Kills. So they're characters that basically tag on and on Halloween Kills, and basically they act as characters like, hey, they want to get vengeance for Michael as well. So they tag on. They want to get vengeance for some reason. But what ends up happening is they get stuck in a car with Marion, the one I mentioned earlier, and of course Marion dies, and then of course Marcus, he's kind of a coward in the movie, like has like that coward sense, like I don't know if I want to do this, but he ends up being brave for a second and ends up trying to choke Michael with his stethoscope, but totally backfires because Michael looks like he's being choked, but then literally he just like sits up all the way in the car. And, like, he's unfazed, like, even though Marcus is literally trying to choke him right now, and unfazed, and then he just gets a neck through the eye, up through the brain. Like, that was pretty graphic. And then, yeah, that I won't describe anymore because it gets pretty graphic. And then Vanessa has a gun on her, and she was like, she has a gun, and I think even, actually, I think one of them handled a gun. She's like, or handed Marcus a gun, and Mark was like, I don't know about this, and then Vanessa was like, I know how to work a gun. So then she grabs it, but she's outside of the car at this point. So what ends up happening is she ends up actually going and trying to go shoot Michael, but instead she walks towards him with the gun, like, extended from her. But what ends up happening is Michael does, like, the most simplest move, and he kicks the door open, which hits her hand, and which bends in, which makes her whole arm, like, bend in, and shoots herself right in the head. Like, it was like the most, like, clean death ever. It was like almost like one of those, like, oh damn, like, jeez, like, I don't know, it takes you by surprise a lot. Let's see what else. Cameron, that's also a good death. Cameron is I don't know how you want to describe him, ex-boyfriend of Allison. She cheated on him in the first movie, but that was never talked about again. So, and then they kind of worked together in the second movie, so I don't know what their relationship is. But boyfriend / ex-boyfriend. Basically, he tries to go and attack Michael, even though Michael attacks him first, just so Allison can escape. And then and then literally Michael grabs Cameron's head, literally slams him through like the post and like the railing, and just and does that, slams him through that, and like literally like moves him like left, right, up and down, like everywhere. So like it's to the point where he gets like really graphic, where you can kind of like infer that he's paralyzed, like he's done, like he's still alive, but he's paralyzed for sure. It's either that or he has a really really bad concussion, something like that. And then as Michael's walking down the stairs to go after Allison, Cameron's still in like the posts, and of course Michael like looks to his side, like very Michael like, and just snaps his neck like 180. Like yeah, it was pretty brutal. And then of course, like I said, mentioned earlier in Halloween Kills, Big John's death was insane. Like Michael literally grabs his head and squeezes his eyes out. Like it was insane. And they had a very good use of practical effects with that, so I really liked it. I think they did a very good job. Well, this would be probably the point where the episode would like wrap up, since we talked about Halloween like nonstop. So that's why we're switching things up. We are actually going to give you the top 20 scary movie recommendations. Whether you're listening to this when it comes out on Halloween or afterwards, where there's nothing better to do than watch a scary movie. So here's my top 20 recommendations. So these are not ranked at all, but these are probably some of my top scary movies or Halloween movies that I would definitely watch for sure. So number 1, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, 2019. That is a very good movie. It's actually based off of a book of the same name, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and I read that all the time, and it has some insane stories, and some of them do get adapted into the movie, so I think it was actually a very good movie. Next one is Scream 6, 2023. That one is a good addition to the Scream franchise. I remember when that movie came out, I did not watch any of the Scream movies, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just watch the entire franchise and then watch Scream 6 and see how it is. So that's what I did, and honestly, this might be just me, but I think Scream 6 is one of the best in the franchise and in the trilogy. I think it was really good. I don't know why I said trilogy, because there's like 6 movies, but it is a good one in the franchise. I think the best parts are probably like the store scene with Ghostface holding a shotgun, but I think it was a very good, very very good one. I would probably put that in my top ones. Then next we have Sleepy Hollow from 1999 with Johnny Depp. I think that was also a good one. I would say that it's not like your typical Halloween movie, but it is a good movie and a good one enough to the point where it's like, okay, this is actually, like, it matches the Halloween vibe. Next one is Halloween, 1978. I think that movie was actually really good. I have not watched it in a very, very long time, but it is a very good movie. It has like that 80s slasher style, so it has a bunch of, people being stupid and be like, oh, hey, let me go into the scary cemetery and check out that noise, Like, it has, like, that style, but it is very good. And honestly, this is, like, the beginning of Michael Myers, so it was really good. Next one is Halloween 2018. I know I just reviewed this movie, but it is actually that good that I would actually recommend you watch this on Halloween. It is probably my top one. If I had to, like, pick between Halloween, the first movie back in 1978, or Halloween 2018, I would definitely say Halloween 1978. Like, 2018 is good, but it doesn't stand against the original. Next one I would recommend is It from 2017. I think this is a very good movie. So this is actually a Stephen King story, and I am a big Stephen King person. So I am actually a lunatic, and I actually read the full book, which is, I think, like 1,200 pages. Like, don't get me wrong, it took me a long time to read that, but it was a good book, and so then I watched the movie, and it was actually well done. It was well done, and I liked it. As a matter of fact, I actually watched it literally yesterday, so yeah, it was actually really good. So I would definitely recommend you watch that in Halloween. Next one would be Pet Sematary from 2019. Not the original one, but 2019. They redid the Pet Sematary movie, and it wasn't like a reboot, but it was a redone version of it. And honestly, I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. It definitely captures that Pet Sematary vibe, matches the Halloween undead vibe basically, and it was actually like really good. It's also another Stephen King story if you don't know, so it was actually they did it well as well. And plus, come on, I mean, it's literally a movie about a creepy unknown cemetery that brings people back to life, but in an evil way. Like, come on, you can't get more Halloween than that. Next one would be Alien from 1979. I was almost thinking about putting Alien Romulus on this movie or on this list, but I ended up not. I ended up doing the first original Alien movie. It's not like your typical Halloween movie, but it is one that you have to check out. Like it is like it's like those scenes where it's like you're basically just like going and you're watching them just walk, and then all of a sudden an alien just pops out of like nowhere. Like it is insane how they do like their special effects and everything. So it's not your typical Halloween movie, but it is a good one. The next one is The Shining, which once this episode actually comes out, I would have already reviewed The Shining. So The Shining is actually a good movie. I will say, I forgot actually what score I gave it, but it is a very good movie. I liked it a lot. I think it's just like the creepiness of it. Again, it's another Stephen King movie or book, so I liked the adaptation to it. I like how the hotel just kind of drives you insane, and yeah, honestly, it's a very good Halloween movie. It's a psychological movie, but so it's not like your typical Halloween thing of like vampires or werewolves or whatever, but it is a very good movie. Next one is Barbarian, which is from 2022. That movie was insane, dude. I remember when I first watched it, that was insane. It's basically about this person that books an Airbnb for like a business conference or job interview or something like that, but ends up finding out that somebody else was also booked it in the same day and everything, and apparently the owners like screwed that up. Which it's been a while since I've watched it, but I'm pretty sure there wasn't any owners to begin with. So, but anyways, without spoiling anything, I'll just say that there ends up being a monster under the bed, quote unquote. So I'll leave it at that. It is a very creepy and disturbing movie, to be honest. So I would recommend it. Next one would be Friday the 13th from 1980. I really, really like that movie. I would almost want to say that it's like almost like a Halloween classic. Like you have to watch it every Halloween. Especially, that's actually one thing I do is I watch Friday the 13th movies on Friday the 13th. So I know sometimes a Friday the 13th happens and it's like in March or something. I don't care. I still watch Friday the 13th. Like it just matches the vibe. Even though it's not Halloween when there is a Friday the 13th, it just matches the vibe. But again, it's from 1980, so like it has that 1980s style. For some reason, everybody's like naked or getting busy, which I don't get. I seriously don't get. I don't understand that at all. But whatever, it is what it is. But it is a good movie, and I will say don't know if I actually have a list of like who's better, Jason or Michael. But Jason Voorhees is a good slasher villain. Next one is Shaun of the Dead from 2004. That one, so now we're getting into like the realm of like Halloween movies, but not your typical scary horror movies. So Shaun of the Dead is like a Halloween movie, but it's more like if we made zombie apocalypse a joke. Like it is a very funny movie. It's a very funny movie, and Shaun of the Dead is such a good. It makes me want to watch it right now, to be honest. Like I like it so much. It's hilarious. It has so many like funny bits to it and everything. Like yeah, people die and it's zombies, but it's really funny. Next one is called Scout's Guide to a Zombie Apocalypse from 2015. That one was actually really funny. I like my favorite part of the entire one is the intro scene. So if you guys ever watch it, which you should, yeah, it's so funny because it literally starts with this janitor in this lab, and he sings "Black Widow" by Iggy Azalea. Like, dude, it's so great. It's such a funny movie, and they kind of do the same thing as Shaun of the Dead, except they really don't make fun of the zombie apocalypse. It's more like, hey, we've seen zombie apocalypse in books, and I can't believe it's actually happening. And the best part about everything is that they're scouts. like Boy Scouts, and they're in high school. Yeah, it's a really funny movie. Next one would be The Haunted Mansion from 2003. I I love Disney, but do not watch the remake Haunted Mansion that they came out with like in 2022 or something like that. I don't know. Like, don't watch that one. Watch it from 2003 with Eddie Murphy. That is the ultimate Haunted Mansion. It's a very good movie. I wouldn't say a Halloween movie per se, but it is a good movie. Next one would be The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys is a very good movie. It's a 1987 movie, so it is an 80s movie. I have to admit something. I will say I am a huge 80s movie guy. I love 80s movies. And like I love 80s movies. They just have a style to it and just like a plot to they have a similar plot to like everything. And I don't know, they're so entertaining. Sometimes they can actually be more entertaining than movies released nowadays. So I would recommend Lost Boys. It's actually a Halloween movie because it's about basically this kid that moves to I forgot the location. I think it's Santa Monica in California. And so they move there. Of course, he doesn't know anybody, but he comes across these two good dudes that are supposedly vampire killer contractors, even though they're both like, what, high school age? So they're both like 15 or something like that. And so they say that there's vampires in town, and of course he doesn't believe them until there's actual vampires in the town. So there's actual vampires, and they did a good job with it, with like stakes through the heart and everything, and of course the 80s special effects, and the soundtrack is amazing. If I have to do anything, dude, listen to Cry Little Sister from the Lost Boys soundtrack. It is such an amazing song. Next one would be Werewolf by Night from 2022. This is a Marvel special presentation, so don't expect much because it is Marvel, but I would say it is a Halloween like themed thing that you have to watch. It's basically just it's in the title. There's a guy that he knows that he's a werewolf, but he doesn't like turning into because he knows every time he kills everybody. But he ends up turning into a werewolf, and there's a bunch of other people that are trying to kill this beast, but not the werewolf. There's another beast in the movie or in the presentation. It's like an hour and a half or something like that. Yeah, like it's not long, but it's a good one. It's a good one. Next one would be Paranorman from 2012. Another, like, I am a sucker for claymation movies. I love claymation movies. And Leica is, like, the best claymation studio ever. I love all their stuff. I like Paranorman. They released one called The Missing Link. That was good. Kubo and the Two Strings is good. I haven't been a big Caroline fan, which I don't even know if they was made by Leica, but either way, circling back, Paranorman is a very good movie. It's a zombie movie, but claymation style. So basically, there's a curse from a witch, and ends up like basically bringing back these zombies that were like the judges of the trial of basically killing her and everything, and then they realize that actually instead the witch's curse is actually based off of her being isolated and her not being understood and everything. Just stuff like that. It's a very cute movie. Next one is It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I love the Charlie Brown movies. They're like 30 minutes long, or like 45 minutes, something like that. But they are such good like shorts. I watch it every year. Like, I'm being dead serious. I actually this year I'm getting a pumpkin and I'm carving it, and while I carve it, I'm going to be drinking apple cider and watching Great Pumpkin. Like, literally. Like, that is a perfect fall night for me. I love doing that. And I did it last year, and I think it's going to be a tradition from now on. I love Great Pumpkin. I watch it every year. It was a tradition in my family, so I highly, highly encourage it. Second to last one is The Ghostbusters from 1984, the first one. However, I wouldn't mind if you watch the second one. Second one is also good too, but the first one is ultimate. I mean, it's literally 4 random scientists, I think. They might have been friends, but I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. But it's literally about these 4 scientists that get together and capture ghosts. Like, come on. And and then there's this big giant marshmallow man that comes in. Like, you can't go wrong with that. Like, it's a very good 80s movie. Like, again, I'm a big 80s buff, but it's a very good 80s movie. And then the last one that I added was The Invisible Man from 2020. It is a very good take on The Invisible Man because basically he ends up being like this. Actually, you know what? No, I won't say anything because it'll spoil the film. But basically, it's a take on The Invisible Man, and instead they go with the psychological aspect of it. So she thinks that she's crazy, but she knows that there's somebody out there, and that's all I'll say. There's a lot of stuff I can talk about it, but I can get into heavy spoilers. But those are the top 20 Halloween films I would recommend you to watch this Halloween. Now, after talking about all 3 Halloween movies, the top best kills, and the top 20 favorite Halloween movies, you would think that the episode is finally over. Is that what you're thinking? Well, think again because we're going to end this special episode with a tier list of my favorite Halloween candies. So we're going to basically treat this as a normal tier list. So there's going to be an S tier, an A tier, a B tier, a C tier, a D tier, and F tier. So I only picked like a couple that I usually eat a lot around Halloween. So we have candy corn, Sour Patch, Milky Way, M&M's, which when I say M&M's, just regular chocolate M&M's. Forget all the other ones. However, there are pretzel M&M's that I really like that they used to have, and those were a bomb, dude. Those were fire. But they don't make those anymore, so unfortunately. It's a bummer on their end, but whatever. So we're just going to do normal chocolate M&M's. Twix, Skittles. Skittles? What's Skittles? Do you guys know what Skittles are? Let me know in the comments. Skittles, Starburst, Hershey's Kit Kat, Nerds, and Warheads. So, first off, we're going to start with candy corn. I know a lot of you are going to probably hate me right now, but I honestly really don't. I really like candy corn. Like, I know you guys don't. I know a lot of people that are just despise candy corn. And I think it's just because a lot of them just treat it as like the bottom of the barrel, I think. And I think that's why a lot of people just don't like it, but I like it. I really do. Like, there's nothing wrong with candy corn. I mean, yeah, it has a unique taste to it, but I really like it. I mean, it has, I don't know if anything is involved with the colors. I think it is, but it's white, orange, and yellow. And I think they have like a different taste to it. Like, me, like, thinking about candy corn right now makes me want to go out and buy some right now. Like, it's so good. I love candy corn. I will say, though, if there's anything I like more than candy corn, it's pumpkins. They made, instead of candy corn, they turned them into pumpkins, and I love those, dude. Those are, like, the best things ever. I love those, like, candy corn flavored pumpkins, and they're actually, like, shaped into pumpkins. Man, that's, like, the symbol of my Halloween. I love those. You can get mad all you want, but I love those, dudes. So if I had to, like, say it, I'd probably say candy corn would go into definitely not F tier. Definitely not. You can get mad all you want. Definitely not D tier. Definitely not C tier. I would probably actually put it in A tier. I wouldn't put it in S. I wouldn't be like, hey, this is like the all-time favorite Halloween candy. But I would say that this is a very good candy. In my opinion, anyways. I love candy corn. Next is Sour Patch. So I'm going to be really biased on this one because I love sour things. I love Warheads. I love Sour Patch. I love, like, anything sour. Like, literally, like, I wouldn't say it's my favorite Halloween candy or my favorite movie theater candy, but I love Sour Mike and Ike's. I love, oh, man. And especially Warheads. Oh, those are, like, covered in, like, maltic acid, and after, like, that sour part, then you get, like, to the sweetness. It's, man, I love sour things. It's making my mouth water right now. But Sour Patch are so good. The only thing I hate about Sour Patch is, like, they get stuck in, like, your teeth, and then, like, you have to, like, search with it, like, with, like, toothpicks or your tongue or something, and you just have to get, like, all, like, the chunks out, and it's just, like, it, because it's, like, gelatin, and so it gets, like, stuck in your teeth, and it's, like, and then, yeah, it kind of gets annoying after a while, and it's, like, ugh, like, I need to, like, brush my teeth after that or something. So like, I hate, that's, like, the one thing I hate about it, but other than that, I love Sour Patch. So I'd probably also put this in A tier. I'd probably put it above candy corn, but it's an A tier. I love candy corn. I love Sour Patch, but Sour Patch is better than candy corn. And I'm sure I'm probably not getting a lot of opposing views to that. Next up is Milky Way. I already know where this is going. I love Milky Way. Like I love chocolate, but Milky Way's the bomb. Oh my gosh! I just realized there's one I forgot to put on this list. Okay, we're doing that right after Milky Way. Oh my gosh, there's one chocolate bar I really love, and I totally forgot to put that on the list. I can't believe I forgot about it. But anyways, back to Milky Way. Milky Way is so good. Like the wafer with like the caramel and the chocolate and everything. I love me a good Milky Way. Oh, and the chocolate caramel combo is what it is. Oh, I love me a good Milky Way. I could get one right now. Milky Way sounds so good. Anyways, instead of my mouth watering, yeah, Milky Way is. I don't know. I'm a big chocolate person. They do have like a Milky Way like Galaxy Edition, I think, or something along those lines, where it's like a dark chocolate Milky Way. And I tried it. I'm not a big fan. It's all right, but I do like a good Milky Way. It's really good. So I'd probably put it in. I'd probably actually put it in an S tier. I really love Milky Way. It's like the richness of like the caramel and the chocolate, but then it also has like a wafer cookie in it. So it has like that bit of a crunch to it. Oh man, I love it. So next technically would be M&Ms, but I do have one I totally forgot to add on this list. Three Musketeers. Ooh, man, that sends tingles, dude. I love me a good Three Musketeers. I love Three Musketeers. That is like an instant like weakness for me. If you went up to me and was like, "Hey, here's a free bag of Three Musketeers," and there's like 80 of them there, I can already tell you I'll probably eat 40 of them one day and 40 of them the next day. I love Three Musketeers. They are so much better than Milky Way, but I love them. So instant S tier, definitely above Milky Way, 100%. Next is M&Ms. M&Ms. So again, we're gonna do the chocolate ones, just a regular basic chocolate ones. These, honestly, I don't mind. I like them. I like chocolate. However, it's that type of candy where like after a while they kind of get stale. They kind of get old. Where it's just like, okay, M&Ms, they're just chocolate. I mean, the color's not doing anything. It's not like enhancing the flavor or anything. But yeah, it's just chocolate. So I mean, it's meh. So I'd probably put this at like B, honestly. Like I wouldn't put this at C because I think that'd be saying that I'm not a big fan of M&M. But no, I'd put it at B. I think that's a good spot for it. Twix, ooh, man. Honestly, I think you're going to find a theme here. I'm going to put Twix in S tier. It's only because I love Twix and just the whole wafer. I think it's the wafer, caramel, and chocolate combo. That's the one thing that they all have in common is Milky Way, Three Musketeers, and Twix all have a wafer cookie in it, along with caramel and chocolate. Like, it's so good. It's so good. I think the only difference is that Milky Way and chocolate have like a nougat thing in there. I don't know. If you ever watch Stranger Things, talk to Dustin Henderson because he loves Three Musketeers and he says nougat a lot. So I think it's like this chocolate like substance that they put in there, but it's really good. I love it. So I'd probably put this above Milky Way though. So when it comes to S tier, it'd probably go from best to worst in S tier. I'd probably say Three Musketeers, Twix, and Milky Way. Three Musketeers is my weakness, so nothing's going over that. But I would definitely say Twix is better than Milky Way. You can fight me on that. Next is Skittles. Skittles, I don't know. I almost want to treat them the same way as M&Ms. Like, they're not bad. They're definitely not bad. I like them. I like me a good Skittle. I like sour Skittles. I really do. But at the end of the day, they're just Skittles. Like, they're not bad. I would almost, like, I think I know where I want to put these, but I kind of want to explain myself first. So, when it comes to Skittles, it's a fruity treat. I have to be in the mood for fruit. Like a fruity, like, taste. I have to be in the mood for it. it's only because like I like Skittles, I like the fruitiness to it, I like Sour Patch and everything, but I have to be in the mood for it. So I don't know. You can fight me all you want. I'm gonna put Skittles at C tier. It's so I don't know. I like it, but it's just so not for me. It's so not for me. Like I like Skittles, but it's more of like the bottom of the barrel candy. It's more like Skittles. I'm gonna eat Three Musketeers first or something else better. There's so much stuff that I would rather eat. So next is Starburst. Starburst the same way. However, I do like Starburst more than Skittles, but it has that same thing where it's like Sour Patch where it just gets stuck in your teeth and it's just like like and it's like and you're just like smacking on it the entire time. Like it's so like tough and chewy and everything, and I like it. I really like Starburst, but yeah, it's so chewy, it gets stuck in your teeth, and again, I have to be in the mood for fruity stuff. Other than Sour Patch, I can eat Sour Patch all day, but yeah, Starburst is the same. It's different. Plus, let's be real, and I can't be the only one here. Everybody goes after the pink ones. Like screw all the other flavors. Pink is the best, superior flavor. Fight me. Actually, except the yellow ones. The yellow ones are also good. I'll put it at the same level as pink. You can fight me on that. So I'd probably put like Starburst at, I don't know, a solid like I'd probably put it at a B tier. Why not? Like it's not bad, but I'd definitely put it above M&M's for sure. Next is Kit Kat. Again, another wafer cookie. However, all it has going is for it is just wafer and chocolate, so it's not like much. However, there is different variants of it. So there's like, so there is actually I don't know if, now as I'm thinking about it, I don't know if they're actually selling this to people in America, but it started in Japan. They actually have a strawberry Kit Kat flavor, and that's good. They also have a mint Kit Kat flavor, and that was also good. But I don't know. It's just wafer and chocolate, so I'd probably say like a solid, I don't know. I'd probably say maybe a solid B tier. Like it's not bad. Nerds, I would probably Nerds. I actually like. I like Nerds. I really like Nerds, especially like the tiny boxes that they used to come in. I don't know if they still do them or not, but I like the tiny boxes because, dude, like especially when I was younger. Actually, no, screw that. I still do it now. Whenever I get the boxes, I just shoot them down like shots. Like it's so good. However, I'm like addicted to the Nerds clusters. Man, I remember one time I got a bag and I literally just drained it. I drained that bag. Like I think I only left like maybe a couple pieces left for the next day. Like, dude, I'm addicted to Nerds clusters. Like you need to get those away from me. So, but when it comes to Nerds just in the boxes, I'd probably put it at like maybe a solid like B tier. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd probably put it at B tier. Like it's not bad. It's not bad. And the last one on our list is Warheads. Oh, I love me a good Warhead. I'd put it at A tier. I love sour things, but I would not put it at S tier just because those are insanely sour. Like I have my limits, but those are insanely sour. But then it does get sweet after a little bit, so it's kind of like, oh, okay. But no, it's insanely sour. It is insanely sour. So yeah, but no, that's my list. So in S tier, we have some good candies, and in everything else, we have some good candies too. So overall, that's my ranking. I think honestly, all these are good, and I'll just end it on this note. Candy corn is amazing. Fight me. Now, as we wrap up our Halloween Trilogy review, I want to recommend some spooky activities for your Halloween celebrations. How about visiting a corn maze, or carving pumpkins while watching It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown? Or, just simply enjoying some warm apple cider. And of course, you can't forget to binge watch those horror classics with heaps of candy. Like, I get if you're not into the whole, trick or treat thing and you're not gonna hand out candy or anything. And I totally get if you're not, like, a party person and you're just wanting to stay in for Halloween. There's nothing wrong with just getting tons of candy and maybe like some apple cider or something and literally just watch scary movies all day. There's nothing wrong with that. That sounds like a good night to me. Like, yeah, party would be fun, but That sounds like a good night too. Overall, this trilogy took some unique paths for sure, balancing slasher thrills, messy narratives, and new ideas. It was a wild ride, and that's an understatement. Even though the trilogy has its problems, I would definitely recommend you to watch this trilogy every Halloween. Like, in my opinion, I think Halloween is the best one. Halloween Kills is, and then Halloween Ends is, I would say, almost a little bit better than Halloween Kills, but I don't know. If I had to rank them, it would definitely be Halloween, Halloween Ends, and Halloween Kills at the bottom. Like, Halloween Kills just straight up just sucked. There was just so much, I don't know, just idiocy, to be honest. But even though I have all of my gripes about the trilogy, you need to watch these every Halloween. Like, it should become a Halloween staple to do that. So I would definitely recommend you watching all of them. But enough about me, though. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to leave a review, follow us for the latest updates, and join us next week for some cinematic fun. Until then, keep the popcorn poppin' and the reels rollin'.